What it is, huh?
You don't wear a Santa cap?
No, we're celebrating as a team today. No.
So just, this is your first Christmas here in Jacksonville. Just how are you going to be celebrating? Obviously, in the midst of the season, too.
Yeah, I've been to Florida for Christmas a lot, actually, since my dad moved to Florida, like when I was in college. We got a place in Florida for down in, Rotunda West. It was like down in Port Charlotte, Englewood area. And so I've done Florida for a long time, and around Christmas time, and different than the Northeast for sure, but no, I love it. We'll tonight be able to have a little family time at some point here. I'm not sure exactly what time I'll be making it home tonight, but hopefully for dinner or so, maybe later dinner. But then tomorrow we kind of bumped everything back for the staff and the players, and be able to have Christmas morning with their families, and then come in around, I think, 11, so 12, and do a smaller portion. It was just easier for us than coming back from Denver and pushing everything back a day and not doing anything tomorrow. That would have been very challenging on staff and players, so that's what we're doing.
Family Christmas theme. For a guy looking for motivation and edge, is the Pro Bowl a gift wrap present this week?
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean,
It's like, where are you going with this question?
Look, we can't control those decisions, unfortunately, and we have a lot of players that are very prideful and have done some really cool things, right? And to be 11-4 and have one, that's just speaks volumes.
According to Camp and Grant, there wasn't a big celebration Monday night when you guys clinched, just kind of business as usual.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, it's more. We haven't talked about goal, like those kind of goals, and it's more so just trying to compete like champions every week, every day, and go throughout the process and see what happens. So, the guys are. I'm sure people are excited to know that there is more football ahead of us, but we're really trying to just stick within this day and be where we're at, be where our feet are, and go compete against a good Colts team this week.
A couple games on Phillip Rivers now. What stands out when you watch him?
Yeah, I got it. First of all, a ton of respect for what he's doing. The player that he's been throughout his entire career. I've watched him at NC State. I mean, I've watched him, obviously, the Chargers, and over the years of how much command he has at the line of scrimmage, the competitor. I've always really respected and appreciated his game. So he's able to command. He knows the system. They obviously have a very strong connection with him and Shane and that staff. And so you can see that there's a guy that's running their offense. He's able to make checks and get to things that he knows are beaters against certain looks and coverages. And those guys are making plays for him out on the perimeter. So nothing's really changed in terms of our preparation of how we were going into this game the first time against Daniel and what that looked like. So very good offense still, as you guys saw the other night.
How good is Pierce?
So I've had a lot of tape on him coming out. I was in LA as an assistant quarterbacks coach. I can't remember what I was at the time, but I remember watching him a ton coming out of Cincinnati. And he can fly. He's making one-on-one plays all over the field, whether it's in the deep shots, third downs, red zone. There's definitely a trust factor there, and he's got a lot of confidence right now.
Liam, there's so much conversation about Trevor's growth and the offense's growth, but how about yours? How much do you think you've grown since September as maybe a play caller combined with all your head coaching duties, and how you've handled it?
Good question. You don't get a lot of often time to self-reflect on that. I think that it's fun. It's been a fun year in terms of getting to grow within a team and grow within doing something new for the first time, right, with some guys that you're excited about doing it with on a daily basis. And James and Tony, they've been unbelievable and being able to learn more about your players on a day-to-day basis and what they become really good at, what they become, all right, these are the weaknesses that we either need to improve, or, hey, maybe not right now, and let's work around that, and calling the game, to their strengths, hopefully, as much as possible. And, you kind of figure out what you're good at by a certain time, and you try to focus more on those things and do them a little differently, and that becomes the fun challenge of preparation, of competing, of plays off of plays, and those kind of, thought processes. So for so long there, you're trying to figure out what you're good at, and okay, you're trying things out, and you're doing things that you think, what it takes to go compete and put them in a position to succeed. But now it's really fun because they're showing who they are, their personalities come out more, and you can just go play.
Is the feel of the game for you the same as maybe last year with the Bucks? I mean, just feeling that play sheet and the cadence of the game, is that similar?
Yeah, I would say, look, when you're able to score and guys are making plays, it definitely makes your job easier in ways, but also puts more pressure on you throughout the week to make sure that you're putting them in continuously positions to be successful. But it's fun being able to, call a play and those guys go and you throw a 5-yard out and he takes it 50 or whatever it is, 60, so it's like that makes it really fun. And, you want to try to do more for them as a coach. Like, you want to work harder throughout the week to try to find those edges to be able to put them in a position to succeed.
The motto is obviously you're focused on you, but how much do you go back to that meeting a couple weeks ago, and what was the biggest takeaway of areas you guys needed to grow or change things up against the
At the
Colts?
bye, you're saying?
No, sorry, against the Colts. Like,
Oh,
3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
So how much do you look at where this team is now versus do you go back and watch that tape and say,
Oh, yeah.
we didn't do this well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're because they only had two. You got 2 games in between, and you're usually working off at least a 4-game initial break, and you're watching everything from the season. But in your break, you're talking 4 to 6 game break, and so we're right in the break. And so when you're showing players your cut-ups and you're showing them, okay, these are the third down coverages, red zone, whatever, we're in those cut-ups. So they're constantly seeing that game.
And what was the biggest takeaway from that game?
I think that obviously we executed. Oh, you're talking about specifically on offense?
Offense or defense?
Offensively, I think early on it was just starting faster. We started fast. We moved it all right. We had a good first drive going. We just faltered there on that drive, and then the complimentary football showed up again, where we get the turnover, score, boom, now we're rolling, and we've seen that movie a few times, and so that's a good thing. But offensively, specifically, just sustaining early on, like struggled obviously the other day against Denver to get going on those first 2 drives. Credit them as well for playing good defense, but I think that's something we got to look at, making sure that we start fast, especially going on the road, knowing that they've been able to start fast a little bit as a team all year, and with Phillip playing quarterback now. So, and then defensively, I thought we, stopped the run really well and played the run very well, and that's something we got to do again this week, and do a great job in the back end.
Do you like the fact that the Texans game is Saturday, so you could actually hit that game on Sunday knowing, hey, if we win, if the Texans lose and you guys win,
No,
okay.
don't care where they're playing.
Trevor's running ability has been on display all year, but it seems like lately it's been even more effective. What do you like about Trevor as a runner?
He's keeping his eyes down the field, I think, at a higher rate as well, in terms of when you're able to get out and extend. That makes you so much more dangerous as a quarterback, right? Where you're in the pocket, and all of us want the play to be executed within the timing and rhythm, right? That's for the quarterback to stay upright. That's for the plays to be able to be on time, to catch and run and all those things. But so much, I think, about playing this position is feel, is living in the gray. And that's such a thing, I think, for quarterbacks when they're playing with that free mind and just going out and competing. That's football. Like, that's what you got, you see high school all the time. You see it in Pop Warner. You see it in college. It's part of the game. Scramble, making plays, extending. Guys, all right, I saw him break off. I'm breaking off my route, and I'm just going to go find space. Like, that's backyard. That's playing football. That's winning football. And so I think that's harder to defend than when, okay, the quarterback's always in time and in rhythm. The ball's coming out in this time period, and you're able to make them defend more and longer.
That 1,000 yards rush. I know you talked about him a ton this year, but just how special of a player has he been? Not just running the ball, but catching the ball, doing pretty much everything you need out of him.
Yeah, TJ's he's very prideful about what he can do. He is, and he's always kind of throwing little comments at me about throwing him the ball more, and he just and we've listened in some ways, right? It's he's able to make plays in space, win those one-on-one matchups, and I'm excited for TJ this week, especially, and during these next few games here is for us to get our run game going again and get it to where it really needs to be. It's an all-11 approach, right? And it also involves his patience, his footwork, his landmarks, his reads, and man, when he's on, that's when we can be really dangerous. So I've really appreciated TJ's work ethic this year, the way that he's approached every week, the way that he competes on Sundays, and so we're going to continue to need that.
I was going to ask, just, what have teams been doing to sort of stop your run game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a combination, I think, of, okay, you're a running team, if you will, early on in the season, right? And the pass game was the thing that needed to catch up, right, in a lot of ways. And then you take time and detail and work on some of those things, and then you look at, okay, what is our quarterback doing well, and wanting to continue to foster that. And early on, we were seeing probably a little bit more single high because we were running it more, and a little bit more man coverage, which now you're saying as a coach, well, they got one more than we really want to have to block. Let's try to throw it. As we start to maybe do that better and see maybe a little bit more honest coverages and structures, then we've got to make sure we pick and choose the right spots to be able to get those off. But we also have to sustain blocks longer at the first and second level. We've got to finish better. We also need to block well on the perimeter, which I think our wideouts did a really nice job last week of actually blocking on the perimeter. But those are those things that it's not just one guy and it's not just one play or scheme. It's, okay, making sure that you're trying to run it versus shell if you can. But, man, they got an extra hat in there. Who cares? We got to make a miss. We got to make a block, whatever it is. I think it just sometimes it's this. But for us to really go where we need to go, that needs to balance out.
Buckner's back wasn't there in the last matchup. Just how big of a focus is he, and what does he really do in terms of impact?
Yeah, I watched him, ton when I was out in LA against him and Eric in there. And, man, those were brutal times for us and trying to game plan for those guys. So a lot of respect for him as a player. And it's just that length that you really have to understand as a guard, as a center, wherever you're at inside against him. We get a great dose of it in some ways with Eric and understanding that. But every player is their own. They're different in their own ways. But got to be prepared for his length, especially with, tip balls and quick game, drop back, getting his hands down. And then, man, he had some good get-offs the other night in the run game and getting the line of scrimmage going back that way. So definitely in our thoughts and preparation.
Liam, I think the 3rd and 7 to Parker. I don't know if you remember. I think he said that they ran 2 different plays. I think Jacoby and Parker.
The 0. Yeah. Yep. Where he hit Parker on our sideline?
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that happen more often, where you can make something out of a play where stuff gets a little messed up?
Not that much. I mean, it does. It's happened maybe a little bit more, I'd say, over I guess you could call it since the bye. I don't know, in some ways. But that was a situation where it was a 0 deal. It was a pressure check, and, Jacoby got it, Parker didn't. And but I think he started to realize as he was running his initial route what it was, and so he just got to the spot that he was supposed to end up getting to. So that's cool to see, So it's like, all right, guys, hey, we need to get the check, all right? But great, great being a football player and getting to the right spot and the quarterback trusting that you're going to be in the right spot. And that's cool to see. So it allows us to keep coaching. And, it was loud, it was all that, and that's great learning experience for us. Okay, yeah, how is our hand signal, where are we at with that, the communication, echoing it as you get it, whatever it is, we can coach off it. But great to see guys going out and making plays.
I know you're focused on the Colts this week, obviously, but when you look big picture just for a second, have you had a moment, even a half a second, pinch myself moment to think, man, first year as a head coach, I've taken this team to the playoffs?
Haven't had a ton of that time to reflect on. I'm proud of this team. I'm proud of how we're trying to do things for sure, and the guys make it really fun. So that's the fun part about being a coach or a teacher, is when you see the people that you're working with improve. That's fulfilling for sure. So it's a fun group to be around.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks,
Home Alone's easily one on there. Oh, goodness. Die Hard? Well, that was up there because